you can just tell he loves doing this.
You talk about due process. The Biden administration made the decision to give extensive due process to 2 trained Nicaragua terrorists that were apprehended at the border just a couple years ago. They were 2 gentlemen. They were from Venezuela. They were members of trained Nicaragua. The Biden administration Border Patrol apprehended them and made the decision to provide them with extensive due process, put them onto a program known as supervised release, and put them on ankle monitors so that they could go through a lengthy legal, judicial determination as to whether these legal aliens who had just set foot on U.S. soil might want to live in the United States for the rest of their lives. What was the result of that decision? What was the result of that choice that was made? Those 2 men kidnapped a young girl named Jocelyn Ungary from her family. They beat her, they sexually assaulted her, they tortured her, they stripped her, they murdered her, and they dumped her body. That is what the Biden administration's policy was. Most of your papers never covered her story when it happened. To the extent that you covered it at all, it was because President Trump forced you to cover it by highlighting it repeatedly over and over again. He had to shame you into covering it. And each and every one of you that sides over and over again with these MS-13 terrorists, to the extent that you have the financial means to do so, you all choose to live in condos or homes or houses as far away from these kinds of gangbangers as you possibly can. If I offered any one of you a rent-free home with no taxes to pay in any of these gang neighborhoods, and I said your neighbors are MS-13 terrorists or Mexican mafia or Sinaloa cartel or trained Nicaragua, I couldn't pay you to live there. But yet you, with your coverage, are trying to force innocent Americans to have these people as their neighbors, and that one day their daughter may be abducted from their home and raped and murdered. So you're not going to get an ounce of sympathy from this administration or President Trump for the terrorists who've invaded our homes and our country.
Preach.
Yeah, basically what we're saying is we want the same deportation policy that Martha's Vineyard has.
Is it too much to ask?
48 hours, you're gone.
48 hours. This is great. Bye-bye. They left with love, though. They left with a lot of love.
And clapping. There was clapping.
And clapping.
They're
right.
proud of themselves, you know.
Right.
Don't forget that.
Martha's Vineyard
They were the true champions. They were the, you know.
unshakably proud of itself. More ways than just that.
Do you give... Okay, because obviously I have very strong thoughts about this, as I'm sure you guys do too. I see the best argument against this is that this argument of due process. He didn't receive the proper process to be in front of a judge and get to plead his case for as to why he's not MS-13, why he should be in the country here illegally, and that the one place he couldn't be sent was El Salvador. So are you sympathetic to this at all, Josh? What would you say to those due process arguments?
Not sympathetic. First of all, he had process. I mean, that's what Eric was saying. He had been through court several times anyway. And again, you get to these situations where if someone is apprehended, we discover that they're in the country illegally, and then we start to deport them. People are like, well, they need to due process. It's like, well, wait a minute now. Why? You're here illegally. And it's like, well, you know, what if they're seeking asylum? You seek asylum at the port of entry. Not if you just happen to get caught somewhere in the interior of the country, like in Indiana or Pennsylvania or something like that. That's not how it works. You have to declare asylum at a port of entry as you enter our country. Not like, oh, you caught me? Whoops, my bad. I'd like asylum. No, not how it works. Not cool.
Yeah. And I think the point there too is there is a process. And does the system need reform? And does it need work? Yes, absolutely. Like we just had 4 years of everything being blown up because we had 12,000 a day coming across. I mean, this was insane. And of course the system needs work, but there is process, like Josh said, for claiming asylum. There is a process for coming here legally. Does it need work? Yes, but to point to these gang members, to someone like Kilmar as our martyr, right? And the left is just like falling all over themselves, sending, brave and stunning Democrats down to El Salvador to see him and like have drinks with him at a nice like restaurant table.
Yeah, did you hear about where they stayed?
No.
There's 4 Democrats that they actually recorded videos for their constituents in a Hilton in El Salvador, which is their luxury hotel.
I mean,
this was about the time
really
when Hakeem Jeffrey said we are not doing any more trip style software.
Yeah, the House Minority Leader put the kibosh on this. Like,
Hey, if you like that clip, you definitely like the full show. We tackle the biggest headlines in news, culture, and politics live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Hit that subscribe button now, and we'll see you then. Thanks for supporting the show.